So welcome back to Real Auto Reports. I'm Jonathan McGrew, and today we have the 2013 Charger RT all-wheel drive Max. This is your top-of-the-line Charger. It has 370 horsepower, it's all-wheel drive, and has a lot of cool features. Full disclosure, I like this car so much that I bought it. So you get to hear all of the reasons why I think this car is pretty cool, why I think it is a formidable competitor to cars like the TL, the Infiniti G sedans, and other high-end options that you could choose to buy. Yet, it packs American power, American muscle, and styling, and some great heritage all into a new design and a new look and feel with the all-wheel drive. So let's hop in and take a look. Hi, so here we are in the 2013 Charger RT all-wheel drive, and this just isn't any all-wheel drive. As we mentioned before, this is the Max. This is the top-of-the-line Charger that you can get, so it offers a lot of luxury features that you may not even know you could get on a car of this price point and of this style. And when I say style, this car is a pretty mean looking car now with the racetrack rear lights and the redesigned front end. So we're going to hit the road here and show you everything you need to know and all the really cool stuff in this car. It's really not the Charger it was in the previous generation. It's really upgraded, and we think that it is a formidable piece of competition for other cars out on the market looking to capture a luxury and all the way down to an entry-level full-size sedan. All right, so the things you need to know about the 2013 Charger is that indeed it is all-wheel drive. Now we're also noticing that in this car you're going to notice this camera shake a little bit because it does have a nice firm ride in the all-wheel drive Max. It is a car that lets you be sporty with it, and thank goodness, because it's got 370 horsepower coming out of this HEMI V8. It does have the fuel-saving technology where it goes 8 to 4. This particular car that we're driving does have some options that you're not going to find from the factory, which would be these tinted windows, which we'll talk about later. That's actually an aftermarket accessory that was added to this car from the dealer, or aftermarket after the dealer if you want. But what's really important about this car is that it is a car with 370 horsepower that you can drive and have a lot of comfort in. In the Max, we have the full leather seating surfaces. You can get it in a red and black inside, an all black, or this tan and black inside. And you'll notice the detail in the doors. We'll show you that later as a cutaway, where there's black stitching that break up the center panels of these doors. You've got the accent stitching here on the seats. These are beautifully bolstered seats. They have real good bolsters to hold you in the seat because this is a big car and it's going to put a lot of G-force through the car when you go around corners, because this is not small. This is a full-size vehicle. But with the electric power steering and the all-wheel drive, it feels well planted. It feels like it is predictable in its handling, and it's got a nice center feel. It's a little loose right in the center, but when you get into the corner, what you'll notice is the weight's going to transfer, the car's going to bite into the line that you're driving, and it's going to feel really solid. This car also has some great safety features that we want to talk about. It has cross-path detection behind the car. It also has blind spot monitoring, which is nice, especially in a car with a rake like this. There is a bit of a blind spot with the rear pillar because it is a coupe-style design. It's a very swoop-back design. And again, that same design is going to create some problems with rear passenger entry and exit and headroom, because literally when you're 6'2", you are sitting under the rear windshield, and they actually tint from the factory the top part of that rear windshield so that you don't have the full sunlight beating down on your head when you're sitting back there. But you sacrifice a little bit of those things for the design and style of this car, and this is a car that you see coming down the road. It is all American. It is definitely harkens back to the Mopar designs of the past, and we think they've done a nice job. Even in the interior, it does pull some of its sensibilities from the previous Mopars of the 60s and 70s. And what is nice is it's got these big gauges, chrome trimmed, easy to read numbers, and then you've got your full color digital readout in the center, which will do your fuel economy, speed. It shows you what gear you're in. If you go to the manual mode, it'll show you that. Tire pressure, and it'll even tell you when you're in all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive modes, which it switches intelligently. And we drove this car in about 12 inches of snow out to the airport and back here in Colorado. And what we can tell you is that it is fantastic. Straight from the factory, has less than 900 miles on it. At the time, it had less than 500 miles on it when we drove that car drove this car, I should say, out to the airport. And what is impressive to me is that at speed, the traction control is not too aggressive. It doesn't feel like it is jerking you around. It is a real fluid and safe feeling system, and very much in competition with cars like the Subaru that have been doing this for a really long time. And Dodge really deserves some credit with this car because it impressed the heck out of me. I drive a lot of cars, and I did not expect that kind of performance out of a car that is putting to the road over 300 horsepower. I mean, 370 horsepower from the motor in this car. You would expect it in the winter and on ice and snow to maybe be a little unruly. Now, with the Max, the thing that you want to know is all of the features this car has. This car basically is about $40,000 when you option it out. Now, we don't have the sunroof or the rear spoiler on this particular vehicle, so you can get it to 41, almost 42,000 with all of those options. Now, I'm not going to, you could probably get a better deal than that at the dealership because Dodge does like to make sure that people are happy with their vehicle. So you might be able to find one even cheaper than $40K on a lot with the option groups. But in the Max, what you're going to find is the full color display that Dodge has gone to in most of their vehicles. And that's where you control everything. It takes some getting used to, but you're going to find that as you get used to the vehicle, it does grow on you. And it does have a pretty good voice activation system. I don't think it's quite as good as the sync system in the Fords yet, but it is really getting close. And most of the vehicle manufacturers are going to start really giving that sync system a run for its money. And I think the livability of this one in the Dodge is good enough that you wouldn't miss it if you prefer Dodge design and power over the Ford design and power. The other things that the Max will offer you are things like adaptive cruise, heated front and ventilated or cooled front seats in this Max. In the back, your rear passengers are going to thank you in the winter because it has rear heated seats, and this is Napa leather. It means you have to take care of it because it's a nice, soft, and supple leather. But it is a real nice step up in a car that, when I reviewed the Chargers in the previous generations, my biggest complaint was all the plastic. It looked like a Dodge Ram had jumped inside a Charger. Well, nowadays, you have this nice interior with soft touch around the it's a molded soft touch, so it's not padded in the way that a leather would be, but it is a much nicer feeling interior. And you've got the nice leather also in molded, probably vinyl here on the doors. It has really received an upgrade. And as you can tell as we're driving around, it's a very quiet car. Dodge is using the laminated front windshields, and the lamination really helps with the wind noise reduction on this car, so you don't get a ton of wind or road noise in this car. A lot has gone into the actual cabin experience in this car. Now we're into the 13 model year, and with the all-wheel drive and the Max being the top of the line, this car can compete with your Acura TL, with the all-wheel drive system. It can compete with the Infinities, I think, to some degree, because it is a great-looking car, and in the G, you are getting a lot less room, a lot less trunk capacity, and you're paying similar amounts for the car. It is got a lot of power. I cannot stress this enough. When you get onto the throttle, it really moves. And you're going to do 0 to 60 in about 5.5 seconds in this car. If you go from a dead stop and you put your foot all the way down on the accelerator, with the traction control on, it's still going to chirp the tires a little bit. If you turn the traction control off, who knows what you're going to get. Maybe you could do four-wheel burnouts. I don't know. I'm not going to test that one out on video and have Dodge come yell at me. But it is an amazing balance of refinement and power in this new Charger. And with the all-wheel drive system, it means people who live in climates where there is inclement weather can still get around and enjoy a powerful American muscle car with 4 doors that allows you to carry your family, friends, and all your luggage too, because the trunk capacity on this thing is quite spectacular. It's reminiscent of the big body American sedans of the past. All right, so that is the real video, the real review of the 2013 Charger RT all-wheel drive Max. This car has some great features on it. They've really uplifted the high-end aspect of the Charger. It's got a much nicer interior. It's soft touch in a lot of places. This has the two-tone black and tan, great bolsters, Napa leather, variable pedals that move forwards and backwards, 370 horsepower, HEMI V8. So yes, it's got a HEMI, and if someone asks, it's got the badge on the side. It will, well, the fuel economy is probably not as good as some of its competitors, but it does have the fuel saver technology with the 8.4, so it goes down to 4 when it is cruising right along. It'll do 0 to 60 right about 5.5 seconds, which is great for an all-wheel drive full-size sedan. Good passenger interior, things like adaptive cruise, auto, high beam headlights, rain sensing wipers, and the list really does go on. Dodge has packed a lot into this car, riding on a classic E-Class chassis from the Daimler era of when Dodge and Daimler were merged together. And what has come out is one of the best Chargers probably ever put onto the market. And I'm such a believer, as I said, I actually bought one. We will be doing more reviews on this car as time goes on, so you'll see us in a couple months after we've put a couple thousand miles on it and beyond. So, for Real Auto Reports, I'm Jonathan McGrew, and we'll see you down the road.